Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, Yvonne Kraeher, Leigh Stima, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Leigh, Yvonne, and myself, with the Realm of Beings, eagerly invite you to join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh, and I'm here with Gretta and Yvonne, and as always, the Realm of Beings. And we are very happy to be on Transformation Talk Radio every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. These conversations will help you examine what you're creating in your life and how it shows up. They will help you shift your impressions to discover new phases and aspects of your reality. So, ladies, welcome. How are you?
Doing good.
I'm fine.
Today, we are working with the quotation, expand your prosperity consciousness in order to accrue a state of wealth. So, as always, there's a lot packed into a little. So, where do we want to start this discussion today?
I think we need to define prosperity and we need to define wealth. I know that, people will think that they equate prosperity with money.
Right.
Or something that's going to bring them money. But prosperity is much more than that. I'd like to begin with an affirmation that we have for prosperity, and in it there are 8 things that define what prosperity is, and we don't think of that. So it says, I am experiencing. So you're experiencing it. I am experiencing opulent prosperity. We look at opulence. Somebody asked me once, well, what's that? What does that mean? I started off saying, okay, I'm experiencing abundant prosperity. First, I started off saying, I'm experiencing prosperity. And then I changed and I said, now I'm experiencing abundant prosperity. And then I remembered what my mentor, Claudine, said. She said, if you see a tree standing with only one leaf, and that tree is amongst other trees that are really blooming and have a lot of leaves, what are you going to think about the tree that only has one leaf? And that's like, something's wrong with that leaf. Something's wrong with not the leaf, but something's wrong with the tree. The tree might not be doing well, not feeling well, because it can only produce one leaf, whereas everybody else around it is producing more than one. So that led me to the understanding of opulent prosperity. So I tell everybody, let's be opulent. What's the difference? Prosperity means that you're living in a nice apartment. Abundant means now you've moved to living in your own house. Opulent prosperity means you're living in your own castle. That's kind of how I use it to define how those things are. But the affirmation is, I am experiencing opulent prosperity in people, places, things, events, energy, health, money, substance, and money. Those are 8 things. And you can add on joy, peace, love. All of that is prosperity. Because we, like for us, the 3 of us right now, with Jacob today, is with us. He's giving us, Jacob is prosperity for us because he's helping us produce this podcast, and Dr. Pat, who taught us how to do podcasting, those were people, they were part of our prosperity. And places where you go to work. We're here, with the station. That's a place, that's part of prosperity. So places, things, the microphone I have, the books behind me, that's all prosperity. The picture, the painting behind me, that's prosperity. People, places, things, events. We're in an event. We meet every Friday to talk to people about creation of reality. So that in itself is prosperity. Then energy, we have the energy. How much energy are we going to put into this? That's prosperity as well. And then money and health. Let me say health. Your health is very important. That's a form of being prosperous. You're in good health, The other one is money. Well, we all know what money is. Money is just currency. And any country you live in, there's some way of dealing with currency. And then money substance means like stocks, bonds, gold, silver, oil, all that is money substance. It's a substance that can assist you in the production of money for yourself. So all of those 8 things is prosperity. Yeah. So then you want to go into, okay, if we define what prosperity is, and then wealth, to create wealth. If you have somebody there who is helping you do something, that person is part of your prosperity, and that person, therefore, is part of your wealth. Wealth does not necessarily mean money. I have money. Who else? What else do you have? I was in a class once, and I was teaching the same thing, in fact, and I dropped my pencil on the floor on purpose, but I didn't tell anybody that. As soon as I dropped the pencil on the floor, there was a lady sitting in the audience in the front, and she got up out of her seat and picked up the pencil and gave it to me. So I told her, thank you. And I said, there's an example of me receiving prosperity. She gave her energy to me because it took energy for her to stand up, bend over, and pick up that pencil and give it to me. She was using energy to do that, you see. So that is prosperity. It was an event. It was an event of me dropping the pencil and her picking it up for me. You see, so there are various ways of looking at prosperity. I would like to give an assignment to the audience, our listening audience, by saying, take a pad with you, a small pad that you can write in, and write down the things that you experience that are examples of prosperity. Because see, some people think, oh, I'm not prosperous. But once they do this assignment, they see, wow, I'm really creating a great deal of prosperity for myself. You see, I remember one woman said, I had, my boss took me out to lunch. Okay, there you go. there's prosperity right there. You know, shared money, shared shared an event, shared a place, people, places, things, all of that. So when you look at it from that perspective, you're going to see that you are more prosperous than what you thought you were in the beginning. Yeah. I hear that.
Yeah, I've been contemplating this idea recently myself. So having the quote pop up here is not, it's kind of a synchronistic event. But the idea of money, people actually think money is like a currency, paper. But what if we expand that idea that money is what people attach to it, the thought forms and the energy, like money is really an energy, and bring in the idea that money is really an energy of blessings, as you described. You know, it's abundant or it's opulent. It's all these things that you were talking about. So I think sometimes we get stuck in the idea of not having enough money to do what we want to do, or not having. So that kind of goes hand in hand with how we feel about ourselves and what kind of reality we are creating in this moment. So yeah, that's my little take on it. It's really, if we look at it as a blessing, you know, and I think the programming from our youth has something to do with it. Maybe our parents like, well, money doesn't grow on trees, and money this and money that. And so we do get a little, those voices inside of our head, which is what this podcast is all about, changing, shifting our impressions out of some of those old programs that don't serve us and provide what we want to experience in our lives. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I've worked with people and had them write down, what do you think about money? What are the negative things that you think about money? You know, some of them write, it's evil.
The root of all evil, right? We've heard that one before.
Yeah. Some of them, let me see what else. You have to work hard for your money.
That's another big one. Doesn't come easy, but think about it, like if that is the program that you have running in your head, how could you ever you know, create a life of opulence and abundance? Like it's, you know, they don't line up, that those thought forms and those ideas of money is the root of all evil. And, you know, I want to manifest a good job that I don't have to worry about money or paying the bills or whatever you also want to have in your life, how that prosperity appears for you. Because it, you know, prosperity, like you said, is everything. It's a job that you really, or a way to live that you really enjoy, brings you joy. Your relationships are functioning well, you know, your career, whatever that is, it's just everything flowing, you know, beautifully.
Absolutely. Leigh, you were going to say something.
Oh, I just like the idea of expansion generally. And I think that that exercise that you gave people is also really good. And for just looking at things from a different point of view, right? To if perhaps you're in that category of I don't have enough, or you know, things could be better. It's just a way that you can, you know, put a little focus and some energy into the things that you can allocate as going well. And I think that, you know, for me, you know, health is wealth. And because I know that if I don't feel good, or something is, you know, but bothering me physically in the physical form, you know, nothing else matters really, because if you're incapacitated in some way, I mean, yes, I understand that we create these things for an experience, to learn something, you know, sometimes maybe we're going full throttle and we create something that slows us down. So, you know, to allow us to look inward, you know, and discover some things. But overall, I think if you're feeling good mostly, and this physical form is mostly, you know, working well, that is a wonderful thing to focus on and appreciate all of these cellular structures and these, you know, individual cells that have a consciousness of their own, and thank them for working together in an organized fashion to get this, you know, body that we're traversing this space in, you know, keeping it well. So that's I think feeling good is really, really, you know, is kind of, when you're creating health, you're creating lots of wealth, because it gives you the opportunity to create whatever else you need in your life.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it also, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's a great point. I miss that, but yeah, I do feel the same way as you, Leigh, that it's critical. It's critical, and people spend maybe their lives collecting things, and like, so they want to give things, you know, to their children or whatever, or like, you know, then they get to the end of the life and they might experience some health, really like a health crisis or a huge challenge, and none of that stuff that their money was, you purchased with money, means anything. In fact, you know, like, you never see a hearse with a trailer on the bottom. You can't take any of it with you. So let's just,
Not according to my mother.
yeah.
My mother, I told her, I said, Mom, you can't take this money with you. She turned around. We were walking down the ramp to get in the car. She turned around and looked at me. She said, oh, yes, I can. I said, all right.
Her hearse had a trailer behind it.
So, you know, I know that it can also be a cultural thing as well, because Mr. Tan was my Mandarin, he was teaching me Mandarin Chinese, and he was also such a wonderful person. He was also the owner or part owner of a store that sold Chinese artifacts. So that's how I met him in the first place. And then I was determined I was going to learn how to speak Mandarin, you know, Chinese. Did I get very far? No.
That's a challenge.
It's just about meeting Mr. Tan, you know, your impetus.
Quite an undertaking.
Right. But anyway, I bought these 2 Chinese chairs. I love those chairs. So he delivered them, because I bought them from him, from his store. So he delivered them to me when he walked into my house, and he said, you know, I said, yes, Mr. Tan. He said, you know, you're collecting things. You're still collecting things. And at first I didn't understand, what do you mean I'm still collecting things? And he said, well, you know, when we get to be our age, and I was older than he is, still am, of course. And, he said to me, that's when you start to give away your things, but you're collecting things. I looked at him and I said, yes, I am, Mr. Tan, and I am going to continue to collect what I like, what I want to be around me. So I didn't, that was such a mind-boggling concept, that when you're older, that you give away stuff. You don't bring stuff to you now, you give it away. And there's still things that, you know, there's still things that I want to buy and purchase and you know, and bring in my house. You know, and I'm looking at it, what? You know, so that's when I realized, prosperity also has a cultural twist to it, depending
Right.
on what culture you're coming from. Yeah, yeah, because I'm totally different from Mr. Don. You know,
Right. I mean, that's interesting. See, you always learn something on the podcast. I didn't, my scope of Chinese culture is very slim, let's just say. But that is interesting, because no one knows. I mean, they have this, they're getting older and they're going to die or transition, however you want to say, but they're preparing they're giving their things, their quote unquote, prosperity away, which is, I mean, that's, I see your point about what, I'm here and this is now and I like it and I want to have it, however, on the opposite side, I could also see like, okay, I'm, whatever age you think you're going to transition at. I don't want to say anything about Mr. Tan, 80 years old, and maybe I only have, but that's, again, I guess that's like another creation of reality, right? I'm Mr. Tan, I'm 80. I think I only have 3 years left. So I will start giving away my things. It's interesting. In one hand, at least things you maybe bought and treasured, you can personally give out so that once you're not here anymore, someone else doesn't have their way with your things.
So I look at it like, who wants to deal with all my stuff when I'm not here?
But like, on one hand, I guess, however, this Mr. Tan, he's got something, because I believe it's true that, this prosperity is a circulation, right?
absolutely.
It's like, but I love the idea of giving your prosperity, like giving it, right? It may not even be about like, oh, I'm gonna die in 2 years or something, but just saying like, this is my prosperity and I love it, but like, here, you have it now.
Share it. Yeah.
And something really, wonderful and magical about that. I'll only speak for myself. Sometimes I focus on the receiving, but I have to stop myself and say, but Leigh, like, what are you giving? Like, what are you giving? What are you giving to circulate, things, and that is also, I think, an important point in the prosperity of everything, right? Maybe you cannot give something financially, but you can give, but that's another kind of sort of externality, but you can give, like part of your passion, you can give your time, there's so many things that aren't your attention, aren't necessarily, financial, that we can circulate.
Right. It doesn't have to just be money
Absolutely.
to give to, like, for you to like donate money. And yeah,
Absolutely.
I have
I'd
a
like to add
collection of
something. Go
record
ahead.
albums. What's that? The collection of record albums from when I was younger, and they just sit on the shelf and nobody plays them. So I have nephew that is into like the vinyl. So when he came to visit one time, I was like, just take whatever you want, just take them. And so he did. He didn't take all of them, but he took the ones that he really thought he would enjoy. And it does feel good, like that now he's at least somebody's going to be enjoying them the way I enjoyed them in my teenage years. But yeah, it does feel good to have that money circuit. It doesn't work any other way unless it's in motion. It's an energy, and it has to stay in motion. However you determine you want that to look like in your life, how you want to create it in your life.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I'm always telling people, I tell them, don't think that you are paying a bill. Don't think bill anymore. Because when you say, I've got to pay my bill, that means you're seeing money going out and nothing coming back in. And really, what you're really doing, I tell people, change your vocabulary, change it to that. And Leigh brought it up first. You are circulating prosperity. I said, for example, the electrical company. The electrical company, or whatever you use, solar, whatever, circulated that energy to you so you would have lights, and to be able to operate in your houses. But the bottom line, after they circulated to you first. So then what you're doing then is circulating back to them things in a form of money. So it's circulation of prosperity all the time. And when you think of circulating, then you see things coming back to you, going out, coming back, not just going out, but it's going out, coming back, going out, coming back. If you have a mortgage on your house, the bank or financial institution supported you in providing you with the monies to purchase your house. So they gave you that money to use. They circulated that money to you. Now, when you make your payment back to them, of course, they're gathering interest, but it's still circulation of prosperity. Circulating back. It's not that, oh my God, I got to pay this bill. I got to pay that. I got to do this. Am I going to have enough money? Oh, I don't have enough money. We fall into those illusions.
The illusions of victim. That sounds like a victim consciousness to me. Like, poor me,
Yeah.
I don't have enough.
Right, you're right. Or you get into this one gentleman I met in Florida. He said there's a word that is the most challenging word you could think of. That's negative, that leads you down that path of negativity. And so I guess one word, and he said, no, that's not it. So finally I convinced him, look, just tell me the word. Just tell me, what is the word that you are saying? And he told me the word need. N-E-E-D. I need this money. I need that. And I know when I started studying metaphysics, one of the things that I learned is that we don't need anything. We don't. If there's something that you want, then create it. Go ahead, Leigh.
Oh, I mean, that's an interesting point to talk about. However, I was thinking before we went to the break, in that quotation, it says something about accrue, a state of wealth, and right now we're talking about circulation, So when I think of accrue, I think of like to build it up, right? So what does that word really, what is it speaking of?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, because to me, like, it's in the quote, accrue a state of wealth, like accruing. It's almost like implying that you're gonna stockpile.
Right, like save it. And
Yeah.
I mean,
And
just
hoarding.
talking about inflation, right? So is it just our perspective that's off, Greta, or what is that talking about?
I wouldn't say that your perspective is off. I would just say that's your perspective. Because the accusation, accurate, what is it? The accumulation of
You're going to acquire.
Acquire.
And we're pushing a little more into it, I think, Leigh and I, at least for me, like you're acquiring it, and then in turn you're holding on to it, which is what a lot of people.
But it depends on how you look at wealth. You
right.
See, because that's why we defined it as there are 8 things or more that can define what prosperity is. So if you're accruing wealth, maybe you have a debilitating illness, but you're working to change it. So you're accruing more health, more health, more health. So if you put that acquiring wealth to how we defined prosperity, then that's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
It's, you know, you want to hang on to good health. You want to hang on to that. You know, you want to hang on to your friends who assist you. You want to hang on to your family that you love. Now, there's some members that maybe you don't want to hang on with, and that's okay too. Oh my God.
Well, we had, speaking of accruing or non-accruing, we just lost Leigh.
I
Somehow she
know,
vanished into thin air, like while you were talking about this. So,
I know, I saw
but
that.
before we go on break, I can't help wishing everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. You talked about cultural references before, and a shout out to everybody out there that celebrates, doesn't celebrate. It's a fun day, and you know, there's always a pot of gold. Or speaking of prosperity and wealth,
Right.
there's always that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, as long as we create that in our lives. So once again, focus on what you want versus not what you know, like what you don't want. So if you have any
I'd like
last
to
words
say one
before
thing though. I'd like to say one thing before, because you reminded me of that. I would like to thank everyone in Deerfield, Florida, and all the people that attended my lectures and workshops and came by the Shifting Impressions table. I want to thank you so much for sharing yourselves with me. I really appreciated that. It was a great experience for myself and the others that came. So thank you for that.
All right. Well, we are going to hop off for a small little break. And when we come back, the realm of beings will be with us here. So stay tuned, stay with us. Thank you, listeners, for being here today. And the ones that are here always, we really do appreciate that. And we'll see you right after the break.
Hello, and welcome back to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We have reached the segment in the podcast where we speak directly with the realm of beings. So, realm, are you with us? Super.
Yes, we are.
Great. Today, we've been talking about, Yvonne, will you please tell the quote? Because
Sure. The quote is expand your prosperity consciousness in order to accrue a state of wealth.
what can you share about your quotation with us today?
Expand your consciousness. Is that correct, Yvonne?
Expand your prosperity consciousness.
Expanding the prosperity consciousness. The first thing you have to do in order to expand your prosperity consciousness is to know that you're worthy of prosperity. That's one of the things. That means that you love yourself and you feel that you, in loving yourself, that you deserve, you recognize, let us say this, you recognize that you deserve prosperity. Some people don't think that they're worthy of being prosperous. Some people think they're not worthy of people liking them. It's like if you had on a red dress, then I came by and I said, "Whoa, Yvonne, that's a great dress. I love it." And you say to me, "Oh, it's nothing. It's just a little thing that I pulled out of my closet today. When you know doggone well you went to Saks Fifth Avenue and paid $200 for it. You see. But you degrade yourself. We don't, acceptance of compliments is also a form of prosperity involving your connection with other people. If somebody says, oh, your hair looks great today, tell them thank you very much. I appreciate that. Don't say, oh, it's nothing. I woke up this morning and threw it together. You're negating yourself within this concept of opulent prosperity. One of the things is love yourselves, know you are deserving, and accept the prosperity. Somebody wants to buy you lunch, and you say, oh, no, no, no. That's okay. I'll pay for it. What? No. If somebody's coming to buy you, I'm going to buy you lunch today. Say thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's what you say. You don't say, oh, no, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. You don't have to do that for me. There are two things happening with that. That person has created for them to stop their circulation of prosperity to you, which affects the circulation of prosperity back to them. You see, it goes around and around and around it goes. It's not just one way. It's always circulating. The energy is always circulating. So be glad and happy when someone says, oh, you look wonderful today. Or if somebody says you're on your job and your boss comes up to you and says, you did a hell of a job today, Joan. Joan shouldn't say, oh, it was nothing. It was nothing. Yes, it was something. So when your boss tells you, oh, thank you, Joan, for doing such a wonderful job on this project, then tell you, thank you. Say thank you. That's what you say, and accept it. Accept the lunch. Accept the dinner. Accept that somebody thinks you look great. Because number
Good
one,
advice.
oh, thank you. I'm so glad you like that.
I have a question, Realm. It goes back to the red dress that I bought at Saks. Why would I buy it in the first place if I didn't feel like I was worthy of it? Like, I mean, the compliment you mentioned, oh, it's nothing. Why would I go out and buy the dress in the first place?
Because you liked the red dress.
Right.
When you tried it on in the store, you looked, you turned in the mirror this way, then you turned in the mirror that way. You said,
I like it.
Yeah,
I felt good. So why can't I accept like if I feel good here, why can't I accept the compliment? I'm just being like a
oh no, don't say that word. I know what you're getting ready to say. Don't say that.
guys, that's why I stopped.
It's because you didn't translate the love of yourself from that situation to another situation. See, looking at yourself in the mirror, you said, oh, I look good. This red dress is just the size I want. It makes my coloring look great, So you go out and you buy it. You wear it. But then somebody gives you a compliment to tell you you look beautiful and great in it. Then you lose the confidence in self and see yourself as a lowly being. And you see that you don't love yourself. That instantaneously, you can go there. That instant, you can change. That's why.
Okay.
That's why. Accept the compliments. Accept them. You're looking good. I like the color of your dress. I like the color of your hair. Oh, thank you so much.
It feels like there's like a block in there somewhere that needs to be taken away.
Then get rid of that block.
Okay.
That's a block of demeaning self, degrading self, lack of trust in self. Like you went out and you bought the red dress, but somebody gave you a compliment about it, and then you think, well, maybe it wasn't the correct dress I should have bought. I should have bought the blue one. Some people will go there with that, you know, because they don't know how to accept compliments and receive them. That is prosperity. Somebody wants to take you out to dinner. If there's somebody that you like and you can get along with that person, go out to dinner. They want to pay, let them pay. They're circulating that prosperity to you. Don't turn that down. Say thank you as you're putting the mashed potatoes in your mouth. Thank you very much. Mashed potatoes and gravy.
How did you know what we were having for dinner, Realm?
You see, one consciousness.
I asked my daughter, she's coming for dinner. I was like, what do you want for dinner? She's like, mashed potatoes.
You see that? Look at that. Although we don't eat, but anyway.
Right.
That's why we create these bodies, so we can have those experiences.
Yeah. Love those mashed potatoes with
Before
gravy.
we went to the break, Realm, I was asking about that word in the quotation. Can you repeat it? Is it Yvonne?
Expand your prosperity consciousness in order to accrue a state of wealth.
This part where you're talking about accrue a state of wealth, because I was thinking that sounded like accrue, like, is it like amass? Like, I'm thinking accrue means to like hold on to. And I mean, maybe we do need to accrue based on our last conversation about the red dress. Some of us may have a little deficiency. I mean, I'm sure when you two were talking about it, I know there's been times in the past where someone says something or someone wants to do something and I say, no, I got it, you know? So what is this accrue word?
First, I must say, you made a statement to me and you used the word deficiency. There's never a deficiency. Everyone is right where they want to be. I don't care what illusions they're experiencing, but right where you want to be. Until you decide, I'm going to change this illusion. I'm going to change this paradigm. Something different.
Right.
Different.
And is that, I mean, when you just recognize that, oh, when that point of recognition comes that, oh, I want to change this, is that the like first catalyst? I mean, is that the first step, just the recognition? And maybe I ask this every time, but because you're going along and you don't, the quote unquote deficiency is okay. You're just working with it. And then one day you're like, oh no, I don't want this. When someone gives me a compliment, I just want to say, oh, thanks very much and carry on. So is the noticing the first step in the change? I guess, yes, right?
See, you answered your own question, Leigh. Yes. It's to recognize what you're doing. Recognize it. Recognize it. We were working with Gretta this morning and we were telling two people, look around you and see what you're creating in your life. Watch and see what it's creating, what it's supporting, what it's supporting, what is creating? Create, support, support, create. Yes.
Yes, and I'm only saying it with the kind of astonishment or whatever, because I realize sometimes that we get so accustomed to the patterns that it's just, you know, we don't even recognize that we can change it because it's just the pattern. And then you're like, oh, wait, this pattern isn't working for me anymore. So, you know, sometimes they sneak up on me.
Yeah, yeah, they can do that. And especially the ones of how you think about prosperity is a very good example. You
Mhm.
know, pay my bill, pay my bill. Then you have, we're the bill consolidators. No, that's wrong. What do you say? Oh yeah, I know now. I remember. Debt. We're the debt consolidators. Bankruptcy. Let me go through bankruptcy. Let me experience what's that like. Yes. You see, so you have all of those things that are opposite to the circulation of prosperity. Mhm. Yes. And see, when you're dealing with circulation of prosperity, then you're not going to sign on a dotted line to own a castle and you have no money to pay for it. You see, you have to move in wisdom with this as well. You know, you know that it's going to be challenging for you to circulate prosperity for this particular thing, then we highly suggest that you just don't deal with it until you feel that you can support it. Going into debt consolidation means that, yes, you practice opulent prosperity for self, but did not think of the circulation to the others. You said it in the podcast this morning, taking, but not giving. You see, you want to maintain circulation of prosperity. That's what you want to maintain. So you're moving in wisdom. You're not going to buy a Rolls Royce if you can only have circulation of prosperity for a Ford. You see, you would work yourself up to saying, I'm going to purchase a Rolls Royce.
And is that what you mean by accrue?
Accruing means the only thing you're doing is recognizing the circulation of prosperity, and you're accruing all the goodness of it.
Like, wherever it comes, whether it be in the
accruing friends, accruing a house to live in, accruing a tent if you want to live in a tent, you know, that's accruing something.
You know, it's like when you were talking about that Ford, just easily, I think we could all grasp that, the Ford versus the Rolls Royce. You know, okay, I'm at the point in the belief of myself that the Ford is what I can, with wisdom, manage right now. How do you accrue to get to the Rolls Royce?
Well, how you accrue to get to the Rolls Royce is set up a plan. What do you have to do? You want to deal with stocks, even though they're bopping up and down? Do you want to invest? Do you want to get a job that pays you more money than what you're making now, which you can create? You know, you look at the different ways that you can accrue the monies to purchase the Rolls Royce.
Right.
I had a friend who worked, he was a financial advisor. he worked for a huge company. For some odd reason, they let him go. Well, actually, he let himself go because, nobody can fire you. You can only fire yourself. So he fired himself. And in celebration of the new paradigm that he created, he did go out and buy a Rolls Royce and pay for it in cash and brought it home. You see? But that was for him. That was what he wanted to do for himself. Love of self. It's okay if I let go of my job. I still have finances, and I'm going to celebrate my separation from this company and purchase a Rolls Royce. And that's what he did. You see. So somebody else will separate from a job and say, oh my God, I have no money. You see the difference? What am I going to do? I've lost my job. I have no money. Well, whoop-de-doo, guess what you created? You created to lose your job. Then you created to experience the thoughts of that you have no money. So when you think of you have no money, which is the shutdown of understanding that we're all prosperous all the time. We just don't recognize it. That's why that exercise that we suggested to Greta to give to the audience in writing down what do you experience in prosperity today? Somebody brought you some candy. Somebody brought you some Oreo cookies. Somebody brought you this. Somebody brought you that on your job. Somebody brought you a rose. All of that is prosperity. And the person who gave you any of those things gave themselves the energy of themselves to go and to purchase it. Take the energy and then bring it and give it to you. They're using energy every step of the way, literally. Every step of the way.
Before we have to go, that is this exercise that you gave or Greta gave earlier in the podcast. That's like a way to accrue that prosperity, right? To just recognize all of the energetic ways and all of the ways that prosperity is manifesting.
Absolutely. Think like that. Stop thinking that I've got to pay a bill. Stop checking your checking account every minute. Is there money there? Oh no. Oh my goodness. My money's gone. Stop thinking that way. Think of yourselves as prosperous beings. Prosperous beings. You're the force. How can the force be poor? You create to be that. You can create to be that because you just want to experience it. Like that young man Greta told you about when he graduated, tops of in his class, and decided he was going to be homeless. That was his sense of prosperity. I want to see what homelessness is like. I want to live on the street and have people. But look what he provided. When you put your hand out and say, please contribute to my well-being and assist me in paying for my nightly place of stay and paying for me to go to McDonald's and get something to eat. You are circulating prosperity to that person, but don't do it thinking that you're going to save that person. Remember, we've said all along, don't become a savior. Don't do that, is our suggestion to you. But if you want to circulate.
Okay, Realm, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us once again. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Greta. Thank you, Jacob, for being the magic that makes this all happen behind the scenes. And most importantly, thank you, listeners, for joining us on another episode of Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, until we create each other again.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with Leigh, Yvonne, the Realm, and me, Gretta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multidimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.